up, guys? So, just want to explain the picture that you guys saw. That's my spoiler alert sign, and it should be pretty obvious if you've heard anything about this movie that there's quite a few things that you don't want to know if you haven't seen it yet. So, another reminder right here, spoiler alert, this will pretty much ruin the movie in some regard if you watch this, okay? Now we got that out of the way, let's get into this Super 8. Before I start talking about the movie, for a lot of people who don't know, Super 8, the hotel? No, not the name of the monster or anything like that. It is a type of camera, and it's one of those sweet old school ones that uses some cool ass film to use it. It's a very cool piece of technology. So, now that we got all that stuff out of the way, J.J. Abrams' secret movie has finally arrived, and it's been hyped up since last summer. And what is the response? Well, so far on Rotten Tomatoes, it's been pretty good. But here's what I got to say about this. So before I get into what the crazy story is for this movie, I'm not going to get into it too much because you don't want to spoil too much, because I know there are a couple brave souls of you out there who are watching this who haven't seen it. So let's just get into this. It takes place pretty much in the 80s, and the kids in this story, and it's a lot, I always say kid actors suck, but again, kid actors prove that stereotype wrong and do a great job in this movie. So getting into it, the main character in this movie, his name is Joe Lamb, and he looks a lot like the main character from E.T. Is that an accident? I don't know, but he definitely looks a ton like him. So, and then getting into the other, all these characters are cliche, but again, for nostalgia's sake, it works in this movie. At least, to me, it did. I enjoyed it. Made me happy. Gave the characters some depth, a little bit, to understand them, make them enjoyable, and that's all they needed, because the movie didn't need to go crazy with characters. Just always got my thumbs up, I guess, here, because I like this movie. But okay, so then you got the fat kid. He's like the chubbier kid, who's kind of in charge, and what do you know? He's the director. By the way, didn't mention this again, spoiler alert, gonna say this probably a couple times. They're filming a zombie movie. But before I get into what they're filming and how that relates to the story about the Super 8 camera, there's a couple more kids I want to explain. The kids have the squirrely looking one who's got the braces and loves to blow shit up. And then you got the slightly older female character who's really into the protagonist, and, maybe something's going to happen there, I don't know, a little chemistry or something. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to be, rocket science to figure that one out. And there's two nerdier kids. One of them, he's not white. I know that. Not to sound racist, but he's like a nerdier character. And there's a taller character who's like supposed to be the good-looking guy in their movie, but he's just like some tall nerd and really awkward. So yeah, all those kids get together and they're making a movie. Before I get into this plot hardcore, I want to mention an actor named Kyle Chandler. You probably remember him from King Kong. He was one of the characters who's like the bumbling idiot. He was like the Hollywood star, and he has a look for that, and he has a good face for that, and he did a great job in that movie. And guess what? Did a great job in this movie too. He plays Deputy Lamb. His name is Jackson Lamb. He's Joe's dad. And he's a pretty interesting character because Joe and Deputy Lamb are dealing with the loss of their mother and wife. It's another thing that just makes their characters have a little bit more depth and a little bit more interesting. But yeah, onto this sweet-ass plot that's in this movie. So, what happens is, they're filming this zombie movie, and they're already pretty much into it. And they've been doing it for a long time, and they've been good friends for a good while. And so they go down to the train station, and they're filming one of their scenes, and there's some great performances from these kids. And they even make reference to like, wow, that's some good acting you just did there. Like, these kids are pretty damn good in this movie. I really like them. And so what happens is they're filming this scene. They're like, wait, train's going by. That's great production value. So they're waiting. And right when the train comes by, they get into their scene and they start doing it. But then Joe, he turns around and he sees this. If you've seen the teaser trailer from last summer, this truck comes speeding off right onto the train tracks, and boom. And a thing I really loved, and J.J. Abrams still does this, and I love him for it, he didn't use that shot in the trailer. And that is ballsy. That is ballsy to take extra time out of your day, out of that man's day, to go and film something just to get you excited for the movie. And that is really cool stuff. You see it from a completely different angle. It looks awesome. And another spoiler alert. After the massive wreck, strange things in the town start to happen. If you've seen the other trailers, you know the dogs start running away. And once again, seriously, spoiler, there's a big ass alien. Okay, there's a big alien in this in one of the caravans in the, I don't even know if that's the right word, but post in the comments and tell me how stupid I am. But anyway, so in one of those things on the train, there's an alien that busts out of there. And like in Cloverfield, J.J. Abrams just does such a good job, and he's just the master of surprise in 3 regards. And I'm going to list those 3 regards for all you people out there. Okay, keeps the monster well hidden in the scenes and in cool ways. Like, there's scenes where, like, oh, I should see the monster, but something is moving in obstruction, and it's like, you just see you just see pieces at times. It's like you put a puzzle together, and it's kind of like in Super 8, you never quite see, like, this is the monster. He looks exactly like this. You never get a perfect look at him, but that doesn't matter because there's cool shots, and that brings me right into this. Guess what? He directed this movie really fucking well. Is anyone surprised by that? Because I'm not. Super 8 is super awesome in that way. The direction is so good. Like, some of these shots are jaw-dropping. It's like, some of these scenes are like, oh, this kind of reminds me of E.T. on crack. I mean, there's some scenes where, like, things are blowing up, and it looks natural, and it, like, looks pretty realistic, and there's some, like, good moments of, like, laughter, and, like, good positioning shots, and just, like, and to get into something that's usually pretty corny, be like, oh, special effects. Special effects in this are really cool. They're so good. They're seamless. I mean, there's never a moment where I was like, that looks fake. It's one of those moments, it's one of those movies, I mean, where you're just like, wow, this all just looks real. Is this real? Did they actually film this? And to go back to his direction, there's moments where they show footage on a Super 8 camera, and it's great. It's awesome. It has the perfect amount of gray. I'm sure they used a real Super 8 camera, but it just looks great, and it's just so fun to watch, and he just has some really, really great footage. And I hope that when the Blu-ray and DVD come out, that you can get your own maybe cut of the movie that they made, because who knows, maybe they have a bunch of footage from their zombie epic movie that they made, and they could cut it together and make a little cool something like a old school Super 8 movie. That would be very awesome, J.J. Abrams, if you're listening. And if you haven't done that, you should go reshoot that right now, because it'd be awesome. But moving on. So, yeah. I want to mention the alien in this movie looks sick. He looks so awesome. But getting to the alien also gets me to my one complaint about this movie, and what kind of makes me sad. Again, gonna mention it, spoiler alert, you guys can't say I didn't say it 100 times. When this movie ended, in my opinion, easily could have gone for another hour and a half, maybe. But it could have gone for another hour for me, and it would have been great. It seems that as soon as it ends, it was almost just beginning. Like, not in the way that a sequel could I mean, I guess a sequel could happen, but it would feel almost like, it would feel very forced. Superman this summer. But, you know, it would feel too forced. But if they would have gone, like, fork in the road, they went this way. But if they would have gone this way, we would have seen something more Iron Giant-esque. This felt like the beginning of Iron Giant, if you will. I really love this movie. This was really damn good, and you should definitely go check this out in theaters. It's so cool. There's so many moments where I was giggling like a little girl. Look at that, it looks so cool. Yeah, J.J. Abrams, he excites me. So, oh my god, this is almost a 10-minute review. For all you guys who are ballsy enough to watch this, thanks. Peace out.